Hey, I'm Jacob Crawford, and this is my transitional lesson plan on economics. This is my first economics lesson plan. It's not my forte, but I'm usually a history guy, but that is very important in 6th and 7th grade. So I wanted to start with an essential question, and I want to do a think, pair, share with that. So I want you to think about the last thing you bought, okay? Was it something you could touch, or was it something you did for you? Did you buy a subscription on a game? Or a Netflix subscription, or did you maybe go out to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal or something like that? So there is where I would have my students talk with their tables about the last thing they bought. What was it? And then I would call upon them. I would be like, I would ask you, okay, what did you say? Was it something you bought or something you paid for? And I would try to discuss that, get that gear turning there. And then I'll name the lesson. I'll be like, today we are looking at goods versus services. We're going to tell the difference between a good or a service. Now, as we just mentioned before, and I'm going to go back into their answers on the Think, Pair, Share. If one kid said, I bought a Happy Meal, I would explain that that is a good. And if one kid said, I bought a Netflix subscription, I would explain that that is a service. And then I would transition that into this right here, which is a golden rule of thumb. And that is, can I touch it? That means it's usually a good. And does someone do something for you? And that's usually a service. And that might be tricky, but I'm going to try to transition that. I'll answer any questions. I'll clear up with other people on their Think, Pair, Shares so they can know, hey, what you said is probably going to be a good because, and then try to get the answer out of them. So now it's time for their turn. So I would ask them, I would go over this. I wouldn't let them just answer this just straight up. So pizza, right? And I would try to kind of confuse them a little bit. I'd be like, well, you go into a pizza and a guy makes a pizza for you, but that doesn't mean that this is a service because, and I would try to get that answer out of them because you take it home with you. You get a pizza, you get a product. So then I would reveal the answer that it is a good. So... and then I would move on to a haircut. And this is another one that I think is going to throw them for a loop. Be like, okay, so I walk into a barber shop. A barber, a trained professional, is going to do something for me. But I'm still going to leave with a haircut. I'm going to leave with something. And that will kind of confuse them. And I'll explain to them that this can only be done by a barber. It's a service. They're doing a service for you that you can't just go pick up a haircut like you could an apple or a pizza. It's a service. So I'm trying to get that distinction in their mind. So now we're going to do a little group activity, okay? So I have these cards right here, and I would split my students into pairs of 2, or there might be a pair of 1, some if they're uneven, and they were giving multiple goods and services. I would probably give each group like 6, and I would tell them to take turns distributing them into a good and a service pile. So if you were in a group with your friend, you would get a card like Dr. Pepper, and you'd be like, okay, I go to the store, I get Dr. Pepper, I touch Dr. Pepper, I leave with Dr. Pepper, that's a good. Then something like car wash, you'd be like, okay, I go to a car wash, a place that's for car washes, and they give me the service of a car wash. So it is a service. And then afterwards, I would kind of review, and I would be like, hey, table 1, pull a card out of your goods pile, and I want you guys to tell me why this is a good. And I would, catch up with the class. Hey guys, this is a good, right? We all agree? Or if they're wrong, I would explain, and things of that matter. So now we're going to do a little bit of some independent time. Okay, we're going to do something ourselves. So I would tell them to table by table grab a red and blue marker, highlighter, colored pencil, anything like that. And we're going to be doing a worksheet. And this worksheet is going to be our independent practice for this lesson. It's a very simple lesson. So red equals good and blue equals service. So I'm going to do this worksheet together for the video real quick. They're basically just going to go over everything here. And essentially, if it is a good, you will underline it or highlight it with a red marker or pencil. If it is a service, you will use a blue marker or pencil. And then we will go all over each of them at the end together and try to explain. So at the end, a hot dog with mustard, that's a good, right? You leave with a hot dog. You go to a restaurant or a stand of some kind and you leave with a hot dog with mustard. It's a product. You touch, you eat it. An oil change at the mechanic. You cannot just leave holding an oil change because that's not what that is. It's a service. A mechanic has to give it to you if you don't know how to do it yourself. Someone is doing a service for you. A foot massage. You don't leave with a kit that says foot massage. You get a foot massage from a masseuse, someone who really knows what they're doing, right? It's a service. A manicure. That's a service. You're going to get that from a cosmetologist or a nail tech, whatever. Orange t-shirt. You can buy an orange t-shirt everywhere. You don't need a professional to sell you an orange t-shirt. You're going to get that as a product. You're going to touch that. You're going to wear that after you pay for it. That's a good. That's clothing. A Santa hat. Same thing with the orange t-shirt. That's clothing. You pay for that. You receive it. Fixing your Xbox or PlayStation. This one is especially a service because you brought the product in the same way you brought your car to the oil change. You brought your Xbox there and they gave you the service. That's why it's a service. A person who knows how to fix an Xbox or a PlayStation is fixing it. That's why it's a service, not a good. So we're going to do a little exit thing. I assume this is going to be a really quick worksheet to catch them up on. And they are going to have a little note that they have to finish before the end of the class, or it's going home for homework. And it's going to be, please write one example of a good or a service and explain in 2 sentences or more why you think it is a good or a service. Now, it's really easy for them to just take this golden rule of thumb and be like, why is pizza a service? Because I can touch it. So I wanted to do that 2 sentence operation so they could be like, the pizza is a good because I walk in and I leave with a pizza, or something of that matter. So that's essentially what's going on. And I really like my activities with the cards, splitting them up. I like starting with the think, pair, share and the essential question. The way this lesson works is just really figuring out how to get that distinction. Good service, good service. When there's only 2 categories, this goes back to my first lesson, nationalism and patriotism. When there's only 2 categories, you can better instill that separation. So thank you so much.